This video is sponsored by MBRC The Ocean. You'll hear more from them at the end. I stopped being a Halo fan on November 6th, 2012, the day Halo 4 released, and I have only become more disappointed in the series since then. When Bungie left the franchise in 2010, Halo was handed off to 343 Industries. This resulted in Halo 4, a sequel truly in name alone. Bungie created not just a world, but an entire universe that felt alive. From the moment you wake up on the Pillar of Autumn and hear the crew members talking to each other, you feel as though you've jumped into a story that was already taking place. These people existed prior to you being awake, and they will continue to go about their business now that you are here. You hear the alarms blare and your ship gets boarded by an alien race known as the Covenant. To Master Chief, this is just par for the course, but to a brand new player, this illustrates the history that the UNSC and these aliens have with one another. These two groups are at war with each other, and they will shoot first and ask questions later. Clearly, this war has been going on for a while, and until you woke up, the Covenant were on the winning side. Halo 1 laid the foundation for a story, world, and characters that not only make this war worth fighting, but makes us want to win. For all of the story shortcomings it had, Halo 2 set the new standard for console multiplayer gaming and improved upon the gameplay found in the original. Players were able to dual-wield weapons, and the level design was a vast improvement from Halo 1. Now, I don't want to repeat what every other Halo 2 video on YouTube has already said before, but the impact that the multiplayer had on the gaming landscape cannot be overstated. I'll leave the topic here, with the fact that even in 2010, 6 whole years after Halo 2 released, players were gathering in multiplayer lobbies to try and keep the servers running for as long as possible before they got officially shut down. People don't do that for just any game. When Halo 3 was officially announced at E3 2006, players were ready to finish the fight. The hype behind this game was unreal, and when the game finally released, I don't think it's a stretch to say that all expectations were met and then some. We were given a massive graphical upgrade thanks to the Xbox 360, even more improvements were made to the core gameplay, and a satisfying ending was delivered for a story that, at that point, had stretched for more than half a decade. Not only that, but we got the fantastic ODST standalone expansion. Unfortunately, 343 Industries took Chief up on his offer of "wake me when you need me," but we're not quite at that point in the video yet. Bungie finished out their Halo story with Halo Reach, a prequel to the entire series. This was it. This was the best Halo could get, and the best it would ever be. Massive levels, incredible graphics, insane levels of customization, improved co-op, the list goes on, and at the heart of it all was a story that brought players right back to the same ship they started their journey on nearly 10 years ago. It was a bittersweet goodbye as we watched the credits roll not only on Halo Reach as a game, but on the story, world, and characters that we grew to love over Bungie's masterful work with the franchise. These games, for many people, were so intertwined with their lives that it felt like saying goodbye to the countless Xbox Live parties, the jokes, the custom games, the friends and memories made, and that part of their life as a whole. Then Halo 4 came out. The relationship between Cortana and Chief that had previously been used to supplement the main story of the Bungie games was now the main focus. What once served as an interesting facet of the story became stretched incredibly thin, with only pandering fan service shoehorned in, and what minor emotional payoff there was erased in subsequent games. So the main crux of the story is weak, and the surrounding elements are convoluted at best and just poor writing at worst. Well, how about the gameplay? Chief has the ability to sprint now, which is a quality of life change that I can actually agree with, but that's where the positives stop for me. The new Promethean weapons are all just reskinned Covenant weapons, and all firearms now have an excruciatingly small amount of ammo throughout levels. You will constantly be picking up new guns off the ground in the hopes that you can scrape together enough ammo just to barely survive your next combat encounter, even on the lower difficulty levels. The level design is abhorrent, stuffing every area you explore with far too much geometry, making places difficult to maneuver, especially when under fire. This is actually a huge accomplishment considering just how linear Halo 4 is. You could probably beat the game by holding up on the left stick and pressing down the right trigger if it weren't for that ammo problem. Following this, 343 Industries released the Master Chief Collection, which launched in such a poor state that you could have placed it next to a dumpster fire and I would have had trouble distinguishing them from one another. There are still issues in that collection that they haven't fixed even 4 years later. But that's just fine, right? They had Halo 5 to focus on at the time. That game made a poor attempt at fixing what Halo 4 broke, while simultaneously making even more terrible decisions. Microsoft needs to fire whoever thought it would be a good idea to release a Halo game where you play as Master Chief for less than half of the campaign. On top of that, 343 Industries removed split screen. I know people who would play entire Halo campaigns together in split screen because the other person didn't own an Xbox, but now that just isn't an option for them anymore. Don't even get me started on the rec packs that absolutely ruined any enjoyment to be found in the multiplayer. 343 Industries was actively making decisions to alienate huge chunks of the player base. It's incredibly difficult for me to have any hope for Halo Infinite after recounting just a few of the blunders that 343 has made. But suppose you're able to brush all of that under the rug. Maybe you're still able to be optimistic, until you see that 343 is gearing up to stuff Halo Infinite with microtransactions. Or until you realize we haven't seen a single second of actual gameplay at the time this video is published. I used to be a Halo fan. The Bungie Halo games cultivated a community of dedicated fans that kept the games fun long after finishing your first run through the campaign. Standing in stark contrast to that are the 343 Industries Halo games, which I had to force myself to complete even once. So what's my point in all of this? Halo Infinite comes out in 2020. And 343 Industries are making it out to be a magnificent return to form for the series, back to the good old days of Bungie's games. All I can say is, don't make the fans a promise if you know you can't keep it. This video is sponsored by MBRC The Ocean. They make bracelets and other products out of recycled plastic from the ocean. Not only that, but more than half of their profits go towards further cleanup efforts. You get to wear a great product and get to spread awareness at the same time. You can buy one of their bracelets at the link in the description. Thank you MBRC The Ocean for sponsoring this video.